In 2022 alone, Music Maker distributed 878 grants to 113 partner artists, totaling to $229,025. You might be wondering how we determine where the support is most needed for our artists. Each year, we conduct an artist survey, contacting all of our partner artists to ask them questions about their housing, health, finances, and support networks. To understand what we learned from the 2022 survey, I sat down with Brittany Anderson, our Artist Services Coordinator. What did we see in the results of this last artist survey?
Okay. So from the 2022 artist survey, there were three major trends that we were able to kind of pull out. The first is overall food insecurity amongst our artists has almost doubled. So in 2019, that was 10%, and it showed in 2022 that was almost 17%. The second is that our artists on average are making about $1,500 a month from their Social Security and disability checks. However, they are still continue to negatively be impacted by just the continuing rise. Inflation, the economy, it's just continuing to just negatively impact artists overall. And then the third is that although COVID has been declared as ending, it's still significantly impacting our artists' ability to make money. So in 2019, 85% of our artists had regular gigs, and our artist survey showed that in 2022, only about 30% of our artists had returned to any type of gig.
Wow. So even though the pandemic has officially been declared to be over, what are some of the other ways that it continues to affect artists?
So again, although the government has declared that COVID is ended and we talk about COVID in past tense form, it still continues to negatively impact our artists. So the artist survey showed that on average, our artists were still being cheated out of about $3,000 per year, which is significant for artists that are only making $1,500 a month. Not only that, but outside organizations, Department of Social Services, for instance, received special monies for COVID for things like pandemic food stamps. However, because we are no longer declared in a state of emergency, all of those funds have been depleted, and the extra monies that artists were receiving during the pandemic has now been taken back also. So COVID is literally still taking food out of our artists' mouths every single month.
And how is Music Maker responding to these needs?
So Music Maker has been very quick to respond. One of the first things that we did during the pandemic prior to these results coming out was double the monthly checks that were going out to artists through the sustenance program. So instead of them receiving a check just on the 15th of the month, they were receiving a check at the beginning and the middle to kind of help them spread that money out some. We also significantly increased our emergency grant program. So for instance, just this week, we had an artist whose well, the pump inside of that well broke, and it was going to cost her about $1,000 to fix that. And just to live every day, she needs water from that well. So Music Maker is able to step in and say, we can have that pump repaired for you so that she can continue on to have a decent quality of life. So Music Maker has been very quick and prompt at responding to those large scale emergency things that are coming up every day for our artists.
Your support makes it possible for Music Maker to meet these needs as they evolve. Thank you.
Gotta have some rain in your life. You got to have some rain in your life. Gotta have rain in all your life to appreciate the sunshine.